Hey everyone, Tanya here, your naturalist from the Wild Pacific Trail. Welcome to our first episode of our series, Learn Where You Live. What's that smell? Here we are exploring species from the trail in your own backyard. One of the ways to get more involved with the series is to download the free app iNaturalist on your phone, iPad, tablet, whatever you have. And you can join the project called Learn Where You Live, Wild Pacific Trail. This app is great because not only is it able to suggest what the species could be, but it tells you all sorts of fun facts about it. And if you share your findings with us, then you're helping to collect data for community science. So now I challenge you to go into your backyard and take pictures of as many species as you can find, being gentle, respecting our environment, and upload them online. Today, I found 82 in mine. Next Friday, I'm going to give a shout out to the account that finds the most species in their backyard. And if you prefer, you can draw or write down what you're finding and then look them up online or in a book and send us your photos. Okay, so the species that we're looking for today loves to live in a really wet environment. And that's why you often see them along the sides of roads and off the sides of trails. They prefer a little bit of moving water. They're also known as a species that lights up the forest. So let's go see if we can find some today. Here we are. Look at this beautiful specimen here. The dignified skunk cabbage, aka swamp lantern, aka what in the world are those things that look like giant tulips? Well, this perennial plant is one of the first signs of spring. And it's actually a bear's most favorite species when they first wake up from their winter slumber. They're following their nose. As you can tell by the name, it does have a earthy aroma, much like a skunk, and they're following their nose towards the base of this species where they're digging up the roots, and it's actually helping their digestive system. It really gets things going in the spring. And just because it's a natural laxative for bears does not mean that humans should eat it. In fact, these leaves actually have a chemical called calcium oxalate, which if you were to try to eat this leaf, it would be like chewing crushed glass. Not good. These leaves have been found over 2 meters tall. That's a wingspan of an eagle. So if you have a really close look at the pod here, you can see it's full of teeny yellowish green flowers, and it attracts the pollinators, like beetles. They love that smell. This native species plays a special role in our environment, so let's do our part and try to protect and preserve them by trying our best to not step on them along the trail and in your backyard, and preserve them for the species that rely on them the most. Now we're going to explore the connections between these species and find out how food energy is passed from one organism to the next in the feeding pathway, known as the food chain. Each organism in a food chain depends on the organism before it in the chain for its food energy. Here at the bottom you can see the kelp, which is eaten by some sea urchins. The urchins are eaten by sea otters, and at the top, the orca is the one eating the sea otters. if a consumer eats more than one food, it has several different food chains, and this is called the food web. Now, let's look at the species that I've identified in the backyard and what can be found on the Wild Pacific Trail. And we'll create our own food web. The skunk cabbage is connected to the black bear. The black bear is connected to... Okay, here we have it. The skunk cabbage is at the bottom. Most plants are at the start of the food web. And then the next species is that consumes it. And the next consumes it, etc. Until eventually you see that the whole ecosystem is connected. Skunk cabbage, bears, salmon, humans. As you can see, everything is connected in our backyard ecosystem, and that's why it is so important that we help protect and preserve these species for the future. Hopefully, next time you see a skunk cabbage, you'll have a greater appreciation for this oh so smelly seasonal beauty. See the link below for our take-home challenge called What's for Lunch, where you can create a food chain based on what you had for lunch. Send us your creations and we'll be able to share our favorites online throughout the week. Special thanks to Elder Vaimundi from the Uklulafat First Nations for allowing us to share the traditional knowledge. We honor these timeless traditions as we continue to grow and learn about our area. Next time on Learn Where You Live. Our motto is inspiring through nature. This series is sponsored by donations to the Wild Pacific Trail. If you liked what you saw today, please go to our website so you can donate online.